Happy whatever today is for you. Maybe it's a day of rainbows. So today we are going to do a chakra meditation. I'm just going to teach a chakra meditation. I really love this chakra meditation. There are many different beliefs about the chakras, of how many there are and where they are, and there are new ideas and old ideas that have many more chakras than are contemporarily in the mainstream, if chakras are in the mainstream. What most people think of is the 7 chakras, and usually the common words are the root chakra, the second chakra, the third chakra, the heart chakra, the 4th chakra, the throat chakra, the 5th chakra, the third eye, the 6th chakra, and the crown chakra, the 7th chakra. Chakras are not a real thing as far as organs, though science has looked into them and found that in many of these traditional chakra places there are bundles of nerves that make a big, that may indicate what these are. The word chakra is Old Sanskrit for wheel, and a lot of times these are translated as the word vortex, or just energy centers. And we're mainly going to work with the 7 contemporary chakras in use. There are colors, animals, meanings, elements, shapes. There's this idea of a yantra, which is the shape of the energetic form of the chakra. So a lot of people know what a mantra is. It's a sound you repeat. A yantra is a image you look at, and it's usually geometric in shape as opposed to an icon of like a deity or something. So I'll talk a little bit about all of this detail. I can't promise it's 100% right, because chakras are a energetic language, much like in a lot of the stuff I talk about in Qigong and the stuff you might read about in Qigong, or really in any kind of religious or spiritual discipline. I think of the whole etheric world or spiritual world as being something where anything is possible. Kind of like the range of speech, right? If we liken it to human languages, this apparatus can make a whole bunch of sounds if it's conditioned to do so, and those sounds can impart a whole bunch of different meanings that are different if you understand the language or if you don't. I mean, they signify things. So energetic languages are the same. When you first encounter them, they may feel really cumbersome or artificial, but if you learn them, they become very useful. They help you interact with a spiritual or etheric realm of being that you may be able to interact with intuitively, with languages you develop yourself, or with lots of other languages in different angles, from different perspectives, from different biases, much like you can talk about different topics in different human languages with more articulation or more nuance, subtlety. So the chakra system, again, it comes from India, and it probably developed over interplay between the peoples of what we call India and Asia over thousands of years. If you do a lot of meditation, you may be able to feel them and have a whole relationship with them. Some people naturally have that ability, and again, it's a chicken or egg thing. You don't know if they relate to the energy body in this language with the chakras and stuff because they've been taught that, or because it's something in the human belief system, or because it's something that really exists in the body. But right now we're just going to explore them, and we're going to interact with them with whatever senses work for us. So again, I'm going to talk about some different traits about each of the chakra, and you don't have to remember everything I'm talking about. You don't need to know all of this. You just need to connect with whatever you connect with. So If the sound works for you, work with the sound. We're going to work a lot with sounds today. If the colors work with you, work with the colors. And you can always do a lot more research. There's tons of stuff on the internet about it, obviously, and I've put a link in the description about it's a photo gallery of a whole bunch of stuff that I've gathered over the years that I thought was interesting that related to Taoism and yoga. It's just lots of charts and figures, if you like those kind of things. Infographics. Okay, so today we're going to work with the chakras with we're going to establish a few concepts. So the sounds we're going to be using are usually referred to as Bij mantras. There are lots of different Bij mantras that incorporate a whole bunch of different concepts. These Bij mantras are specifically speaking to chakra energies. You can have Bij mantras that are about developing compassion or wisdom or a whole bunch of other traits. The way that they're done, the way that you use a Bij mantra as a meditation is you just repeat it internally, filling your consciousness with this sound. The word Bij can translate as seed, and one of the depictions of this is that if you place a Bij mantra in your consciousness and you keep nourishing it through attention, like watering a seed, it will grow. So if you put in a seed of wisdom and you keep nourishing that Bij, wisdom will grow in the consciousness. That's kind of the idea here. So there are Bij mantras associated with each chakra, and by chanting them, the idea is that it helps resonate the chakra with health and balance. There are colors associated with each chakra, and there are locations, obviously, associated with each chakra. Part of this meditation uses the idea that the chakras can be associated with lotus flowers. Lotus flowers in a lot of Asian thought symbolize purity and the ability to purify. The lotus, if you've ever encountered it, it's like one of the plants that makes lily pads, can grow in fetid, disgusting water and yet still be beautiful and smell beautiful. So it's this idea that you might have a bog, but it has so many lotus flowers in it that it smells sweet and delicious. So one of the ways of describing the chakras is they all have a certain amount of petals to their lotus flowers. Even though these are energy centers, one of the things to understand is that the energies that are incorporated in each of these centers are flowing throughout your whole body and your whole aura. If you have a concept that you have energy that extends out beyond just your skin. So even though I'm going to talk about these centers and these colors, the colors might speak to you differently and the locations might resonate in different places of your body when you connect with the chakras. So don't be too rigid about what you're experiencing. And beyond anything I say, your experience is more relevant than what you should or are supposed to feel. So again, if we just go into this with the idea of playing, if you know stuff about chakras, you can apply everything you know about it. If you don't know anything about chakras, I'll do my best to give you some hooks. A nice thing to know, there's an idea within the etheric energy system from yoga that you have what's often translated as a central channel. It's called the Sushumna, and it kind of goes from the center of the skull here down through the middle of your body to your pelvic floor. And it's usually thought of as a white tube and is pronounced something like Sushumna or central channel. The chakras are all in that central channel. Another idea, which there are conflicting descriptions of this, and again it's energetic, so whatever works for you, is there are two main nadi, which are energy channels, that start in your nostrils, go up your head, and then spiral down your body through the chakras. So in some systems they just go straight, but in some systems they cross over. There's some people that believe the chakras are spinning like this, or maybe like this, or maybe like this. Some people, again, who have an intuitive, clairvoyant perception can see the way the chakras are spinning, and they'll be like, oh, your chakras are spinning the wrong direction. I've had people say, you might have heard people say like, oh, your chakras are blocked, or your chakras are shut down, or, oh, this chakra has way too much energy in it. So these are things that people think about chakras. And again, it's an energetic language that gives people a way of relating to the energy in your body and expressing information about it. With all that being said, we're not going to be doing a lot of specific manipulation to try to turn it up or turn it down. We're just going to try to resonate it with health and let it come to balance. So we're going to start there. Oh wait, one more little piece of information. Some of these have like a higher number of some of the, like each of the chakras have a different number that we're going to be toning. And there's a nice Indian way of counting to 12 on one hand that I really like, so I always like showing this to people. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if you need to count higher than 12, you just multiply it. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. You get the idea. We're not going to be counting up to 27, but we are, I think the highest number we're chanting is 16. And again, the numbers that I used for the chakras are perhaps not the correct ones. You can look that up later. It's just what I work with. And that being said, sometimes when I do these chants, I just chant one long tone. Sometimes I like to do them really long and really slow because I like to feel them resonate in my body. And sometimes I chant them quick, and I have a friend who chants them very quick. He said every morning in the shower, where I'll be showering, he'll just go lam 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 lam. That reminds me, there's another idea for those of you who are musical, that some people think the root chakra, the bottom chakra, is the note C, and the other chakras move up the scale to the crown chakra. The downside about that is that I don't think India actually uses that scale. So it's probably a cultural appropriation. But if it's something that makes sense to you and works with you, like chanting on an octave, go for it. I don't necessarily have perfect pitch, so I don't necessarily chant on an octave, but I do sometimes raise the pitch because I feel so like that. And remember, you don't have to do this perfectly. Play. You don't have to worry about sounding like a fool because no one can hear you. All right, so we're going to start with the root chakra. Again, it's considered to be at the base of the pelvic floor, and in some systems it takes up the whole legs, or it might even be centered in the knees, and there's some people who believe there are chakras down below head. But we're just going to relate to the base of the body, so you can feel this in your whole legs, but specifically in the pelvic floor. The animal associated with this is an elephant, and the shape is a square. So in the yantra, it's a square. The color's usually red, sometimes black or brown, but it's usually red. Root chakra, Muladhara, in Sanskrit, which just literally translates as root chakra. It is often said that it is where your etheric body roots down into your physical body. So if you imagine you have a ghost, to put it in contemporary parlance, imagine your ghost sliding down into your body and it hooks in at the pelvic floor to be in your physical body, and then the rest of the chakras align with the physical body. That might be one way of saying it. But it's also where you get most of your nourishment from the earth. So if you think of your feet as being able to receive earth energy and it flows up your body into your pelvis, that's really rooty. So root chakra tends to relate a lot to ideas of security, groundedness, physical health, ideas of financial security, how you digest food, a lot of just those very physical things. And people who feel like root chakra instability, they just might be like very worried about where they live or very worried about what might happen to them. So again, you can use mudras, which are the way the fingers touch, hand positions. and put them down by your chakras. So this gets easier when you get to like your heart chakra or your throat chakra. And then in other systems there are mudras that specifically are for those chakras that you can hold in different places. But this is something like you can use if you want to focus energy, or you can point with your hands, or you can like do this with your hands and just kind of imagine your hands are beaming attention into that area, or you don't need to do anything with your hands, but it's just an option. So the sound, the bij for the root chakra is lam, like L-A-M. I tend to chant it like this. To take time to feel each tone, and again, you can just say lam. You can say lam, lam, lam. You can also go to whichever level of that kind of deep throat toning you're comfortable doing. I would encourage that for this, especially for this chakra, because it's really nice to feel that vibration radiate through the whole body. And when you're making the sound with your throat, which actually I'm going to take a little derivation, the translation of the Sanskrit word for this means purifier. And I love the idea that this is a meditation where you use the throat chakra to purify the other chakras. So even though the sound's coming from here, you want to resonate it and feel it here. And again, you can feel like red energy growing out of it. If the idea of like sitting on an elephant feels good to you, if the idea of sitting on a square or being in a 4-petaled lotus flower feels good to you, those kind of things are nice images. But I suggest you close the eyes, chant Lam 4 times at least. You can do more if you feel like it, long and slowly. And I'll do that right now, and you can just listen and feel. So with this chakra, as with all of them, we want to send a feeling of just may you be balanced, may any energies that are not healthy be released, may any energies that will benefit this chakra come to it. And again, this is the bottom part of your body, so we want to steep it in red, but also when we're chanting, we want to feel that color go anywhere that it's needed. Because of course the whole body is the physical body, it's all the root chakra too. It's nice after you finish chanting that you just rest and feel it for a moment. And again, there are a prescribed number of bij, that you repeat the bij in each chakra, and it goes up as you go up. But sometimes, like I said, I just do it once, or sometimes I do it just 3 times for each. So feel free to do it more if you feel like that chakra needs more. So we're going to move up from the root chakra to the second chakra, which I believe is the Svadhisthana, which translates as the seat of the soul. And again, why it's called this, most people just call it the second chakra. Some people call it the sexual chakra. Whereas the root chakra is the earth element, the second chakra is the water element. The shape for it is a sickle moon. The animal is the crocodile. The color is orange. The sound is Vam, V-A-M. Again, it's often called the sexual chakra because it's kind of right behind the bladder. It's kind of behind the bladder, in front of the sacrum. Yeah, in front of the sacrum. So that's kind of where the prostate is. It's kind of where the womb comes down. So it's thought of as the sexual chakra, and it's also thought of as a very creative space where a lot of your creative energy is stored and emanates from. But again, the Sanskrit word translates as the seat of the soul. And as I gave that little description earlier about imagine your ghost sliding into your physical body, one of the ways that you can describe the philosophy about what this system believes about the soul or the self is that they believe that your physical body is what you associate with when you are awake. It's what you think you are. It's what your ego manages. While you're in this world, it's necessary. It's a vehicle for exploring this physical world. And so it is yourself while you're here, but it's your most finite self. Like, it dies after however many years you're in it, and you lose a lot of the stuff associated with it, like it and your face and your name and all those things. But this ghost that I spoke of, they have different words for it, but think of it as like the etheric body or the subtle body, that when you're dreaming, you're in that body. And even when you're awake, you can identify with that body, and that's more what you're doing when you're doing Qigong or etheric work, because you can relate to all of energy and space any way your imagination believes it can. Of course, that's part of the crux here, is as much as you can imagine and then believe in and feel, you channel that power and harness it and use it. So there's the subtle body, and the subtle body is what carries the memories and the karma and all that stuff from life to life, if you believe in reincarnation, or maybe just the soul in contemporary mainstream culture. And then they have this thing called the seat of the soul, which can be called Jivatman, which is this idea that well, it can be said lots of different ways. Let's say it like this. Imagine that there is wholeness of the entire universe, and inside of that there is the idea of what we might call God, this omnipotent being that is the creator of everything and everywhere at all times. And then from a polytheistic viewpoint, or even if we're talking about Christianity, you could say that there are lesser gods, and those gods make other things. So let's imagine that out of the wholeness and God, there is a god or a saint who is, let's say, the god of men, for instance. The god of men. And that god of man can also be split up into infinite little sparks, little shreds of his soul. This kind of relates with Judaism. And every man has that spark. This might also be called the Holy Spirit, like the tongue of flame, right? But in this idea, it lives in the second chakra. And in every man, it's the exact same thing. So some translations will actually say that every living thing has this same spark in it. And I like that idea that you have a soul that's unique and carries karma, and you have a relationship with it and a sense of self with it, and you can transform in dreamland and do all these things with it. But then you have another soul that kind of provides the actual life for your body and your subtle body, for your physical body and your subtle body. And that's the same as all living things. So the second chakra is where that lives. It's your sex chakra, it's your creativity chakra, it's the water, it's the crocodile, it's the moon. The sound is Vam. It's got 6 petals. It's orange. So we can settle down into that and do 6 bombs. Oh, and again, set the intention that it may be clear of all blockages, clear of all energies that make it unhealthy, and let it be balanced and integrated. And in the silence, you can feel it resonate with the root chakra, maybe connect down through it. If there's any resonances of the sound or the color radiating through your body, you can just feel that dissipate and settle. Now, the third chakra is the solar plexus, which is right below the ribs. But some of the old systems talk about 2 other chakras between those two, which don't have bijas as far as I know, but I'm going to describe them quickly because they're often overlooked. The navel, honorable mention, in Taoism always thought of as this portal through which the babies receive all their nutrients, and which as a human you can also pull energy in. It's thought of as this way you interact with the world. And above that, above the navel, below the solar plexus, I don't remember the Sanskrit name for this, but I remember it translating as mind, which I thought was interesting. And the function of it was thought to be where all of your senses came together and you made sense of them. So that might be one function of the mind, right? That if you hear something and see something and taste something, you'll know it's an orange because this makes sense of all that data. So that's kind of interesting to think of. And again, when you're doing these chanting, if you feel like a spiraling, a spinning, that's a really nice way of interacting with it. Maybe we'll add that into the next one. Okay, so the solar plexus, Manipura, I think. Its color is yellow, its element is fire. It's often called the willpower chakra. People who are imbalanced here generally feel like they can't make decisions, very indecisive. People who have too much strength here are running around trying to control everyone or manipulating everyone. Trying or actually doing. Has 12 petals on it, and sound is Ram, which also has other meanings as a bij, but it's a good one. It's kind of interesting for me that I just associated it. Like Ram was the name of one of the manifestations of Vishnu. Krishna was also a famous one. But Ram can be used to bring up the part of you that is happy not to be an egomaniac, but happy to be of service. So it's very interesting. I just made that connection right now of being like, oh, that's a very interesting beige to put in your third chakra, which is your willpower. How can I be of service to you? So again, fire, willpower, yellow, 12 petals, 12 repetitions. We can do these a little faster, but again, if you're doing it on your own, you can do it as long and slow and exploratory as you like. It's funny right now, I don't remember the animal associated with it. But it's in the charts. So if you want to bring up some yellow energy, either from the sun, it's nice, the solar plexus, right? You can put the sun in there. You can draw up energy from the earth to support it. It's always nice. Put the intention into your voice, into your mind, that we're clearing any energy from this that is imbalanced, that is unhealthy, and allowing it to be nourished by any of the energy it needs to be in balance with the rest of the chakras. So inhale 12 times, Ram. And again, you can just Ram, 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 or you can do it like this. So coughing is a very normal thing to do when doing these kind of chants. If on an energetic level the throat chakra is helping clear energy, then it might be coming up out through the throat. A lot of times if you listen to old chants that aren't done like for a studio commercial purpose, you'll hear people going coughing and clearing their throat a lot. It's very nice, again, after we finish chanting, to just feel the resonance in the body and feel the chakras integrate. So just whatever spinning you like to feel, whatever axis, to feel it going down through the belly, into the root, into the earth, and let the energy come back up. Which leads us to the heart chakra. Heart chakra. Color is green. Oh, I also didn't mention the shape. The shape of the solar plexus is a triangle pointing up. The shape of the heart chakra is the Star of David. It's a triangle pointing up or a triangle pointing down, or a Merkaba. if it were three-dimensional. And it has 14 petals around it. And the animal is a deer. And if you think of the beauty of a deer and how skittish they can be, the heart can be like that, that it's this travel all through the forest. This is also where the sense of self was thought to be located in the body, whereas back in the day. Nowadays, a lot of people think you make all your decisions from here. This is where your mind is, this is where your brain is, this is where the true you is stored. Like if you cut your head off and cryogenically freeze it, in the future they'll be able to like somehow back up your brain and reproduce you somehow. There are people who do that. Back in the day, they believed the heart was where that was, where you lived. And they still have ideas like if you have an open heart surgery that you lose a big part of yourself when they open your heart open. And I remember reading stories when I was researching this that like people who got heart transplants, a lot of people will have strange cravings for food they never craved before, and strange memories and dreams that they never had before, which is like from the other person's life. The sound for this is yam, green, 14 petals, Star of David Merkaba, triangle up, triangle down. Element is air, animal is deer. May this chakra be, and often when I chant this, although it does relate very strongly with the organ of the heart, which is in itself a vortex. I mean, a lot of you know there are 4 chambers of the heart, and the blood flows through it kind of like this. There's ideas and science that has proven this, that all the iron in your blood being pushed through this vortex creates a large magnetic field that can be picked up with magnetic tools. You can feel people's magnetic resonance, and when you're around other actual humans, you can feel their heart field on a magnetic level and probably other energetic levels. So the heart is usually the actual vortex here, but I often will feel it as the whole inside of my ribcage, my whole thoracic cavity, so incorporating my lungs and everything too, which goes with that idea of the earth, or the air element. Right, yum. And again, you can just yum, 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 yum to your heart's content, or you can do it long and slow. Whatever pace you like, 14 times. So again, try to feel the relationship between the heart chakra and the lower chakras. Let them come to balance, let them integrate. You can maybe picture the colors going up and down, the whole rainbow bottom of your body situation. Something I was saying, your sense of self lives here, but another association with this, with the air element, is that it's where your intelligence is, like a quick mind. It's in here, not in here. We'll get up to there in a minute. Wow, that feels so good. I hope that feels good for you. But again, like I've been doing this now for 20 years or something, so I've developed this energetic language with my body, or you could say I've habituated my nervous system to respond to these impulses. So it feels very good for me. So, I believe the throat chakra is called the Vishuddha, which again translates as purifier, or purification. Its color is like a blue sky. Blue over there, where you can see. You can imagine a blue sky, nice blue. You can have it a dark blue, whatever kind of blue resonates with you. I always think of a blue sky. The element associated with it is all four elements, integrated, interacting. It's often the communication chakra, yes, right? And in that way it relates to the creative energy from the second chakra, which is the sex chakra, the creative energy. It comes out here with expression, it connects to your arms, even though so does your heart. The combination of your throat and heart is really good for expression. Love is the law, love under will, right? It doesn't have an animal associated with it. It has 16 petals. Its sound is hum, which is different for chanting because the beginning is aspirated. It's the way I do it. I don't go hum. I go ah. I try to feel the edge and the transition and the fluidity from the aspiration of ah into ah. 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 16 times. So again, you can think of the other chakras resonating with this. You can think of the imbalances in the throat are people who feel like they can't express themselves, can't find their own voice, lie a lot, have there's some of us who just can't help but embellish everything or just make shit up constantly. So this can kind of help cure both of those things. If you have an excessive imagination, untruthful tendency, or if you have the ability, the feeling like you can't speak, you're uncomfortable with speaking, or expressing yourself, even writing or other ways. But it also can just help purify your whole energy field, which is, of course, what we're using it for right now in this chanting of the Bij mantras. That and visualizations from the third eye over there a little bit. And blue. That's good. So go ahead and give yourself a nice few breaths, and again, you can just hum to your heart's content. Even though I'm mostly staying with the same pitch, or at least trying to, when I'm chanting, you can experiment with any pitch that sounds good to you. So just know that you can play and see what that feels like. If it feels better to try to go deep or go high. And there are... All right, so just, again, bring up the intention of all of this fifth chakra anywhere in your energy field, and especially in this area. May it be purified, may it receive the energy it needs, may it come to balance, may any energies blocking it be released. 16. Make sure you get your beard out of the way. So being very present with your body, however it feels, whatever you're actually experiencing, if you do any of these, and like you just noticed with me, if you feel like there's some kind of resonance of something needing to move, feel free to express yourself in any way you need to. Coughing, yawning, crying, yelling, shaking, twisting, cracking, shaking. It's always good. Rolling your shoulders. That's not usually the way I chanted, it's the way it came out today. So that's another consideration. I mean, I guess I've said this in other ways, and I'm repeating it again, that if you practice this with any regularity, these same sounds can come out different ways, and it can be effective in different ways. Again, it's all about the intention and the practice, the energy you put into it, and then what you allow yourself to receive. So give yourself a moment, and stretching your tongue out is always good. Give yourself a moment to integrate those energies, feel them stack, feel the energy flow. Again, you can picture the Sushumna, the central channel, the white column, and the colors inside of it, and allow energy to come into it from wherever it's needed. All right. So, there's another chakra about right here that's often called the third eye. Can be thought of also as the third Dantian, or as the crystal palace. Some people like to think of it on the skin. Some people like to think of it inside the head. Some people like to think of it as the pituitary gland, which is light sensitive. Third eye, it depends on how much light you get, it releases different chemicals. A lot of people, when they meditate or chant, will turn their physical eyes up to look at the third eye as a way of concentrating their energy into the etheric realm. You can definitely have too much energy in there, you can definitely have blockages there. You can definitely have closed eyes there. You can definitely have third eye blindness. I'm not referencing that terrible band, I never listened to them, I don't know them. But you know what I mean. Some people, again, have very open third eyes, and some people get terrible visions that they're terrified of. If you think of these eyes, the physical eyes, as being able to help you perceive the physical world, the third eye helps you perceive the etheric world. And again, some people integrate those really well with the physical eyes. And those people are more, what are they called, clairvoyant. They can maybe see into the future or the past, or look at someone and see their chakras, or see their aura, or see spirits. Some people just naturally have that ability, some people can develop it. So here, one of the first Bij mantra sets that I learned had different sounds than the ones I use now. So if you've ever heard the Kasham thing, I'm not using that right now, but I learned that in California at the massage school I went to. But the one that I associate with this now is just Om. And the Om, well, I can get into a little bit more description. I'll just keep talking about Om. The Om that I use is more the Indian Om than the Asian Om. And that it has 3 syllables like these other Bij sounds we've used. So if we were to put it in our alphabet, it would be A-U-M. Aum. And there's actually a 4th sound in there, in that when you make the M sound, it rolls up into an NG. So you can practice this by going ah, ah, ooh. The nice thing about that, like spring. The nice thing about this NG sound is it causes your bones to vibrate. So one of the ideas is that it causes your glands and your brain to vibrate. The pineal, the pituitary. If you've ever heard Tuvan or Mongolian throat singing, they use that sound and this same kind of concept to make their whole sinuses vibrate like a flute. There isn't an animal associated with this one either. Oh, I forgot to say the shape associated with the throat is a downward pointing triangle. The shape associated with the third eye doesn't actually have a shape like that. But the flower is very interesting in that it's a circle with 2 petals coming off of it like this. And each of the petals have 16,000 petals. So we're going to chant Om 32,000 times. We just chant Om 3 times, but again, you can chant Om as many times as you like. You can chant Om on a low register or a high register if we're going up the scale. I definitely like to chant Om long and slow and to breathe very deeply between them. So as I said, there's kind of a 4th sound in Om. The M turns into NG. Some say a very important part of Om is the silence afterwards. And so I'm going to talk about that now for the crown chakra, because the sound of the crown chakra is silence. So we're going to do the 3 Ohms or more if you feel like it for the third eye. And in that, we're going to picture the eye opening and again being safe and clear of all negative energies, blockages, and empowered in any way it needs to be empowered. And then when we're done oming, we're going to just listen to the silence. Now the silence, for those of you who haven't heard me say this before, is in this whole sound field we're in right now, where you hear my voice and the waves and whatever buzz or noise you hear in your room. Behind all of that, there is silence. There is silence in which all of these sounds are moving. And the element associated with the crown chakra is the element of what is usually in English said as ether or space. So there's a 4-element system that a lot of people know of: earth, water, fire, air, or earth, air, fire, water. But in this order, it's earth, water, fire, air. This is the culmination of those. And this is the space in which all of those elements manifest. So your body is made of these 4 elements and exists in the 5th element. And if you're at all interested in chemistry or science, pop science, you may have found that in a lot of molecular structures, the way the atoms come together, there's tons of space between them. So even in a solid object, there's tons of space between those particles. Not to mention all the air pockets within your head or your body or any object. There's lots of air pockets inside of them. And then even within the atoms, when you look at them very closely, there's space between the neutrons and protons in the nucleus, and space, a lot of space on the quantum level of the electrons moving around what you could call a physical particle. So most of the universe is empty space. I mean, I've heard something, which I don't know if it could be said it were true at all, but if you took all of the space out of Earth and you were just left with the atoms, you could fit it in a tablespoon or something. Which I kind of like thinking of, that's how important space is. So when you listen to the silence, you're tuning into that field and you're existing in it. The third eye is usually thought of as purple or violet, and it's the purple or violet that you can see. The crown is ultraviolet. It's a violet you can't see. And some people associate the violet ray with the crown chakra. The crown chakra is said to have 72,000 petals on it, and it just radiates over the whole top of your skull, your pate. And I often, and this is just me, I often think of it as this crown of light with 72,000 points or infinite points that connect to every star and every living thing in existence. Whatever your imagination likes. So we're going to Om into the third eye with violet, 16,000 petals radiating out from the central point, the eye opening and receiving all of the energy it needs, cleaning it, protecting it, all of the things that you'd like about that, letting you see what you can put in some wishes about. I want to be able to see this. Be careful what you wish for. And you put that intention into it. And again, you want these energies to be integrated into the other chakras. And then when we're done chanting those ohms, we're going to tune into the ultraviolet light, which science has been able to prove that ultraviolet light is everywhere in the universe. So you're going to tap into that feeling of space. And one of the concepts is that in this realm of space, there is no distance. It's a completely different dimension where distance doesn't exactly make sense. So you can be at any point in time or space at any moment when you're in the realm of space. So tune into the silence and just let your sense of self dissipate into eternity, into infinity. You know, just let yourself dissipate into eternity and infinity. Take as much time to do that, especially in your own practice. You can sit there and listening to the silence and dissipating for 20 minutes if you want. We'll just do it for a minute or so this time. So you can feel quickly your chakras, turn on the colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, purple. again, as much as you can feel into your crown chakra, put in those intentions of letting it be clear, letting it have all the energy it needs, letting it be free of any of the energies that don't benefit it, and letting it integrate with the other chakras in a healthy, balanced way. So I'd recommend you keep your eyes closed now, unless you just enjoy the view. And picture your head being open to eternity, obviously, right now. And call from somewhere in eternity, this violet light, this ultraviolet light, just let it radiate down through all the chakras. So right now I'm using my hands to draw the energy down. It's just a natural, intuitive thing I just did. Feel free to do that if you like, but you don't have to. You can just draw with your mind. But let the energy come down through the top of your head, inform the third eye, the throat, the heart, solar plexus, pelvis, and base. Integrating. You picture the purple of the third eye flowing down into the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, pelvis, and the base, to the earth. The blue from the throat flowing down into the heart, solar plexus, pelvis, and base. Green, nourishing these chakras. The orange flowing down. The red pulsing, receiving from the earth. And then again, let the red radiate up to all the chakras. Let it radiate through the whole central channel. Let all the chakras have some red. Let all the chakras have some orange. Let all the chakras have some yellow. Let all the chakras have some green. Let all the chakras have some blue. Let all the chakras have some purple. Let all the chakras have some ultraviolet. And again, call up into the universe, into a pure, beautiful, vibrant white light. And let that vibrant white light wash down through you. So just let it, like, maybe you can imagine like a ray of light shooting down, or just a huge tunnel of light, or just a big shining, whatever you like. And let it flow down through all the chakras, just making them brighter, so they're all bright, beautiful, shining chakras. And again, those colors and that light can go anywhere in the body you want it to go. And call up into the universe a metallic silvery color. And imagine that silvery color, silvery white light coming down through the crown, through the whole body, nourishing all the chakras, strengthening, however it wants to nourish them. Let's touch into a coppery light. Ask for coppery light. Again, a beautiful, clean, polished copper. Just let that light flow through the whole body, and let the chakras or any of the body receive that energy. And then call to the universe from golden light, big, beautiful, bright, radiating golden light. Touch into the metallic of it and let it flow down into you. And it can enter through the crown chakra from 72,000 points of light, or just a big ray flowing down into you. And again, it can flow through your whole nervous system, flow through the chakras, flow through the Ida and Pingala, all the nadi, all the meridians. Let it nourish the chakras as they need to be nourished. All the way down into the root chakra. I would recommend putting your hands together in front of your heart. A little bit of pressure through thumbs against your sternum. Smile. Think of yourself as all people. Let all people feel the benefit of this practice. You can also think in terms of words and say, may the goodness of this practice be shared for all beings. May everyone benefit from this practice. Put your hands on your legs or somewhere else on your body. Maybe just rub them a moment, and then open your eyes and just reconnect with the outside world. And feel the earth below you, or wherever you're sitting. Feel your butt in the chair, feel your feet on the ground, feel the sky or the ceiling above you, and let that radiate. Let yourself feel the sky. Just kind of feel the space in front of you, feel the space behind you, feel the space on your sides, and just kind of make sure you're grounded here. If you want to do anything to kind of close and concentrate your aura, you can imagine it kind of spiraling and getting closer to your skin. You can just rub your body. It's a nice thing to do. And again, there's a link in the description to a whole bunch of pictures about a whole bunch of stuff, and in there you'll find stuff about chakras if you want to read more. You can also just Google. There's also a link in this description to my donation page. If you found this practice fun, entertaining, enlightening, inspiring, and you're making money or have some to share, please share. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, I can't see the screen right now. I have using the back camera because it's kind of better quality. I think it's a better microphone, whatever. If you have any questions, feel free to ask some, either in a private message or in the description. Maybe I can turn the camera on and look and see if there's anything, but if not, I can answer them later. Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. Play with it, explore. The more you practice, the more powerful it will get. And whatever lights work for you, whatever colors work for you, this is just something that I like, and I hope that it benefits you. Much love and much appreciation. Thank you. Good. That's it.